Hi guys, it's Debbie from emotionallysensitive.com. I'm in recovery from borderline personality disorder and thriving as an emotionally sensitive person, and now it is my mission to help other people just like us to also have hope and encouragement that this can be overcome. So welcome. This might be your first time on my YouTube channel or on my blog. I'm so glad you're here. Hope you stick around. Click like, comment, subscribe, and there is more to come, I promise you. Lots of good stuff. So, I wanted to make this video today because there's been something on my mind, and I think it's really important to address. Here's what it's about. If someone had told me this in my 20s and I had been receptive to it and had been able to receive it at that time, I am telling you, I would have saved myself an immense amount of needless suffering as someone who was not yet diagnosed with BPD, but who had clearly been suffering from the symptoms and who had always been an emotionally sensitive person. I know that as an emotionally sensitive person, or if you have BPD, it can be extremely, extremely difficult to handle almost any type of criticism. At least it was for me, especially when I was in the thick of my symptoms, and it was just really difficult for me to admit when I was wrong. It was difficult for me to accept responsibility if someone pointed out that I didn't do something quite perfect, or that I had made a mistake, or that maybe I wasn't doing something in the healthiest of ways. It was intolerable for me to accept that, to admit it, and to therefore deal with it. Because if you're not accepting reality and acknowledging what's happening in the present moment, you can't change. You stay stuck. And that's exactly what I did for so long. And even today, in recovery and having all of these DBT skills, dialectical behavior therapy, which is what I credit largely for my recovery and what I teach now here at emotionallysensitive.com. And maybe you'll be in one of my upcoming classes. Maybe you'll choose to check it out. My biggest thing that I want to convey to you guys is if you have someone in your life who presents you with something that initially is very, very painful because it feels like an insult, or it feels like an attack on you or who you are, or anything like that. It could be something really small, it could be something really big. Allow yourself to have that moment, experience that, and allow yourself to acknowledge that it is painful, and have compassion with yourself in that moment. And what I propose is to consider looking at whatever the person has told you from a factual standpoint. So doing your best to remove any emotional charge that may be connected to it, and looking at what they've said. Because I really believed, that my thoughts and my feelings were always true because they felt so strong. So I would see someone come up with a theory, or an idea of what that person was going through, or a story about why they did the things that they did, and I would believe it and act accordingly. So for example, I had an ex who was in the room with me when Baywatch was on or something, so this was a long time ago. And he looked like he was happy or something. She was attractive and just running down the beach with things bouncing and what have you. And I said, oh my God, he likes blonde women, he's going to cheat on me, I'm not, satisfactory to him anymore, he's not attracted to me anymore. And I started treating him like a real jerk, and he was extremely confused. Wouldn't you be? And this happened a lot in my life, where my perception of reality was based on the stories that I told myself, and not necessarily reality. I was not fact-checking. And so to others in my life, it looked very disjointed, disconnected. I looked very dysregulated. I was accused of being crazy many times because the way I was behaving was so not in alignment with what was going on in the real world, in reality. And people had brought this to my attention in one way or another, suggesting it gently, and I would get so angry, and I didn't have any DBT skills to teach me, hey, it's okay to get angry about this, but hey, let's look at this with what we call wise mind, and could there be a morsel of truth, just a tiny little bit of truth in what they're saying, and can I use this to better myself? Is it possible that this person cares about me and loves me and would not be saying this just to hurt me or to upset me? That they could have really good intentions, and that even though I can't really see it, that there could be some truth in what they're saying. And that's what I do now. If someone says something to me, I try to remove the ego from it, and initially it might hurt, but then I look at it, and oftentimes there is at least a little bit of truth in what the person is saying. I can then use that information to grow. So in the example of running off in my own head with stories about what's going on, and it's not actually lining up with reality. Let's say someone says that to me today. Deb, that whole situation with your neighbor, I think, is it all factual, or is some of this you going off into possible scenarios? I can stop and think, I actually don't have all the facts to support the assumptions that I'm making and the thoughts that I'm having about this person and the situation. So that was actually really helpful and grounding for me to get into looking at what's really going on in the situation versus where my mind is going with thoughts and feelings about the situation, which can help me be very much less dysregulated, which can protect the relationship with, in this case, the neighbor, of me not behaving in ways that would be very confusing to them, upsetting to them, and burn bridges, right? So that's basically what I wanted to share with you guys today, and I want to know if you can relate to this at all. Do you have a really difficult time receiving criticism at any level? It can be about this need to have perfection and this really scary feeling of being exposed when people discover that you're not perfect. Of course, everyone knows you're not perfect, but it can feel, when you have BPD, like when you're putting on this show of trying to maintain this image of being perfect, as if everyone believes you're perfect. So another kind of check the facts situation, right? And are you willing, the next time someone criticizes you or suggests that you may be doing something in an unskillful or unhealthy manner, are you willing to look at that and then say, okay, could there possibly be a tiny bit of truth in what they're saying, and how can I use this to grow and become stronger and healthier? I would love to know your thoughts, so please do leave a comment below. I will reply to as many as possible, and I hope this was helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video and the next blog post. Thank you again. This is Debbie from emotionallysensitive.com. See you soon. Bye for now.